And welcome to Around the Ozark Spotlight. Each week we uncover the stories behind the people who live and work in Southwest Missouri. Those individuals with entrepreneurial spirit who work to better the lives of others, or some that even put pen to paper to write books about their stories and the history of the Ozarks and its people. I'm your host, Scott Meier. Today we're exploring the world of cancer survivors. And with me is Bailey Lang and her father, Jason. Hi, Bailey. Hi, Jason.
Hello.
Hello.
Good, thank you. And September is Cancer Awareness Month, and we're going to find out a little bit more about Bailey and her parents and what that means to them. Now, Bailey, just to put you at ease, I'm a cancer survivor myself. I had colon cancer back in 2009, and I had gray hair back then too. So the colon cancer didn't make my hair gray, but luckily I didn't lose any of it, and I'm here today. But this story isn't about me. This story is about you and the experience you've had. Let's first find out who is Bailey Lang. Bailey, tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
I am 15 years old.
Okay, and have you got a birthday coming up, soon to be 16, or did you just turn 15?
I just turned 15 in March.
Okay. Well, take your time. We all get older faster. You don't need to get older any faster than you need to. Back to school already for the fall?
Yes, it's going really good.
What school do you go to?
And,
I go to Cross Street Academy. It's an online school.
oh, really? Okay. So is that considered homeschooling?
Yeah, some people say so.
In the
Okay.
sense that she does school at home, but it's full classes on the Zoom platform. So she has
Oh, no
how many
kidding.
kids in your class?
20-ish.
20-ish kids in her class.
Pretty small school.
Yeah.
20 kids in a class. Well, that means you get full attention. That's a good thing. Now you and your folks live in Springfield.
Yes.
Okay. Which side of town?
What side? We live on the west side of town by Rutledge Wilson Farm.
Okay. Okay, excellent. I'll keep shooting her questions because I'm sure she's a very bright young gal. I'm sure this is probably making her a little nervous. Don't be worried about this, Bailey. This is we do this all the time. But I like the folks to get to know you a little bit. Let's find out a little bit about your dad. You think he's a pretty cool guy? He's sitting right next to you,
Yes.
and I'm assuming red's your favorite color.
No,
We just happen to be wearing the same color today. It was kind of by coincidence.
Okay, and Jason, tell me a little bit about yourself and your wife. Where did you meet? Where are you from?
Well, my wife and I met when we were both in Florida on church staffs. I'm
Okay.
originally from Florida. She's born and raised in Indiana, and our pastor introduced us. And we got married in 2002, and we've been all over the country serving the Lord in various churches. And ironically, the Lord brought us back to Springfield, where the pastor that introduced us is serving here as the pastor at Cherry Street Baptist Church. And he asked us if we'd be willing to come on staff here. And we prayed about it, and the Lord said yes. So now we're back in Springfield for our third time living here. And
Third time. Well, that's a charm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Third
That's
is a
right.
charm.
Yeah.
And I
And
assume that you both like it a great deal.
we do. We like Springfield. Springfield's
Yeah,
a fun
it's a-
place to live.
Certainly a great place to be able to raise a family. My wife and I moved there about 8 years ago, and for business reasons, and it's been an amazing place for us. We came out of the Detroit, Michigan metro area, which is far different than what
Yes.
Springfield's like in a lot of ways. I like to share one quick story. When I was down here before our house had sold, and I was eating breakfast out one morning, there was a family of four came into the restaurant I was at, held hands and said a prayer before breakfast. And at no time did anybody pull a cell phone out of their pocket or anything like that. They actually just bowed their heads and said a prayer. And I called my wife later that morning and I said, this is going to be a great place to live, only because I don't think we'd ever see that up in Michigan, certainly not in the Detroit area, just for whatever reason. And it was a pleasure to see that here, and
Yes.
to see that people actually wanted to talk to each other, not text each other. And Bailey, do you have a cell phone?
yes.
You do. Do you text a lot or do you talk a lot?
Um, I mainly text my outside of town friends, but then talk a lot.
Okay,
We
well,
use
good.
Marco Polo as well.
Yes.
Good. There's the power of the voice, and you've got a very pretty voice. So I hope you use that more than your thumbs. That's always a good thing. Let's find out a little bit about Bailey Lang now in terms of her experience. So, Bailey, this being a Cancer Awareness Month, and the Cattle Barons Ball is coming up in a week, and that's a big event to help raise money for the American Cancer Society, where most of that money does stay in Southwest Michigan, so it doesn't get spread around the country. It really helps folks that have experienced cancer here in this area. But tell us about your experience. So you're 15 now. When did you first find out that you had an issue?
A year and a half ago, I was 13, just about to turn 14. I got home from church and told my mom, hey, I have these bumps on my neck. So I showed her, and she immediately thought I had mono. She asked my dad to take me to the ER. We went to the ER. We waited for a while. They brought us in 3 hours later. They took my blood, and the head doctor saw my blood work, and he realized something was up. So he made me take a scan, and when they were looking at it, there was tumors all over from my neck down to my abdomen. And the doctor said it was cancerous. So they said we need to either go to Kansas City Children's Hospital or St. Louis Children's Hospital. We prayed about it and decided to go to St. Louis. So when we get there, doctors immediately came and saw me, did a biopsy, and a couple of days later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And
Wow.
I started right away 5 rounds of chemo, and then after that, 20 rounds of radiation. I'm now cancer.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm now cancer-free and healthy.
Well, that's the best news of the whole show here. Having had a somewhat similar experience, for me personally, it was really tough when the doctors thought they found an issue and when they told me it was an issue after my biopsy came back. What was that like for you?
It was pretty scary when I heard the word cancerous when we first took the scan. And
It's one of those words that really frightens you, isn't it?
yes.
How did you deal with it?
That's a tough one.
It's a little nervous at first, but once we got a game plan, I felt better about it. And I knew either way, if I died or live, I would be okay either way.
Well, it's a tough thing. How about mom and dad? Were you with her at this time when she was with the doctor and they told her?
Yeah, what had happened was when my wife and I discussed that night when we thought it was mono or some kind of an infection, we thought if we wait for a pediatric visit, it would be a couple of weeks. So her twin brother was at home. We had just moved into a new home 9 days earlier here on the west side of Springfield. And so we didn't necessarily feel comfortable leaving the kids home alone. So I went ahead and took her to the ER. And so I was with her when like she said, we had to wait several hours because they thought the same thing. They thought maybe this is just an infection. But we knew, well, if we go to the ER, we may wait a few hours, but we can get medicine quicker and she'll be free, feeling good and weak. Because she had been sick leading up to this for a few weeks, just, winter weather sickness kind of thing. And but when the head ER doc came in a few minutes after they did the blood draws, began to ask questions, we knew that there was something up. He says, we need to do an x-ray right away. And when the x-ray discovered, on the x-ray, you only saw cloudiness. And she heard the word cancer and she asked me, she's like, Dad, am I going to die? And I'm like, not tonight. Well, we've always been honest with our kids,
Sure.
And so I called my wife, and then she came as well. We worked out the child care situation. She came, and we were both there for the CAT scan that they did. And that's when the ER doc said, we can wait around and do tests at our hospital, but I'm familiar with this enough to know that she needs to go somewhere quickly. And so in a whirlwind, and this is 3-4 in the morning, Thursday morning, and by 10 o'clock, my wife and Bailey were on their way to St. Louis Children's. And so my wife was with her for every one of the treatments for the entire time at radiation. And our church rallied around us. We had our faith in Christ. So that was a huge issue to us, a huge comfort to us, not an issue, but a comfort. Because knowing whatever issue we faced, that God already knew it and he was in control. In fact, there was a point in time when we asked Bailey, she didn't seem upset by any of this. And so we're like, Bailey, it's okay to question, to have questions. You know, a lot of people say, "Why me?" And your
Mhm.
answer was,
Why not me?
"Yeah, why would you say that? Why not me?"
Well, I'm saved and I know where I'm going. There's other kids who aren't and they don't know where they're going.
And so she was
Sure.
so confident in the Lord that she said, "Whether I live or die, I'm taken care of. I'll either be healed either way." So it was a good testimony for us as parents to hear her faith, and that gave her the courage and the strength to go through a difficult 6 months. A lot of cancer survivors go through much more rigorous time frames. You know, she had a hard time for a short time, and we're thankful that that the Lord has brought her through this, and so many people helped. While my wife and her were in the hospital at one of the times, is when we were introduced to the social worker, and the social workers who let my wife and Bailey know about Hope Lodge, which was a huge blessing to our family, and she can tell you more about Hope Lodge as opposed to staying in the hospital.
It was much more
absolutely.
much more home.
Yeah, Hope Lodge. Let's take a step back so we can let the folks know what that is. Hang on one second. You're hearing and seeing my guests today, which are Bailey Lang and her dad Jason. And Bailey is a cancer survivor. We all applaud that. Now, we talked about Hope Lodge a couple of weeks ago with another guest. Bring people up to speed. What exactly is Hope Lodge, and how did that work for you?
It's a place where people who have cancer or other can stay in a kind of like a hotel kind of fashion during their treatment, so they don't have to pay for an actual hotel. And it's pretty home-like. There's a kitchen. There's a kitchen of all the appliances. Then there's the bedroom that has a separate living room, and a nice clean bathroom. So it feels more home-like than a hospital room.
So your mom and dad were able to use that and stay there to be at your side?
Well, my wife was able to go with her. I was not able to go with her to the treatments, but that was a huge encouragement to me as a dad and as a husband, knowing that my family was provided for and safe while they were so far away doing treatments.
Right. Oh, it's crazy. And I'll tell you, the power of prayer. I may not be a Baptist myself. I'm something else, but that doesn't matter. I sure prayed a lot, and I felt a lot closer to God during my time because things. And Bailey, you're so young, but it sounds like you're a very adult young lady. It's certainly in the way you think. It puts in perspective what's really important in life, doesn't it? You have a chance as you're laying in bed, and either they've done the procedures on you or you're about to get that done, and you really start putting your life in order.
Yes, it made me really miss my family and realize how important they are.
How's your brother doing through all this? He's your twin. I'm sure twins always have a little different connection.
Yeah, it was hard on both of us. We didn't like being separated. We were never that much separated for that long period of time.
How long were you in the hospital?
When I first got there, it was almost 2 weeks, and then I'll go home for like a week and a half, then go back for 4 days, and it's on and off. And then radiation, I'll be up in St. Louis for 5 days, weekend off, 5 days for a whole month.
Now, how long do you still have to have the treatments? Are you still doing chemo?
Nope. I don't have to do any more treatments.
And everything looks good, and you're 100% solid.
Yes, a couple weeks ago we went to St. Louis and had a CAT scan, and everything was clean.
Well, that's amazing. We're going to find out more here in the second half of today's show. We're going to be back in a moment with more on Around the Ozarks Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier. Back in just a minute.
Hey, everybody. It's Ethan and Sarah Forhetz from your favorite podcast, Around the Ozarks in 5. I'm sure you've been wondering, how can I get even more amazing stories, events, and witty banter to start my day?
Well, look no further. Here we are. Sign up for our daily newsletter. You'll have what's going on around the Ozarks right at your fingertips each weekday morning.
Yeah, just go to aroundtheozarks.com, click on the newsletter tab to sign up.
Thanks for listening to Around the Ozarks in 5. We hope to see you in your inbox soon.
Welcome back to the second half of today's Around the Ozarks Spotlight. With me, a cancer survivor, Bailey Lang. Young Bailey is only 15, not soon to be 16, but she will get to 16, which is grateful for all of us feel that way. And her dad, Jason. And we're talking about cancer awareness this month and also leading up to the Cattle Barons Ball, which is a major fundraiser for the American Cancer Society in Southwest Missouri, certainly in Springfield. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. I have to ask you, Bailey, when I sat with my surgeon, which was literally 24 hours after I had the major surgery, he sat by my side on my bed, and I never felt the emotion that I felt at that time, knowing that his hands, his work, really was not only an act of God, but also through him, he pulled me out of a really dark place. I was afraid I was going to die, and let a lot of people down. Father of four, a husband, and you just think some really bad things. What was it like for you to sit with your surgeon the first time?
It's a little nerve-wracking. I kind of already knew some of about my cancer, so I knew I'd probably be okay, but it was still nerve-wracking because I knew I'd be okay if I died. I was just worried about my parents because I knew that would be hard for them and my family. But I knew God would get them through it.
Talk about the decision you had
Now,
to
how
make.
long?
So she did have to make one decision that we let her kind of lead the way on, and I think that's an important aspect of this too.
So right before we did my biopsy and the chemo, they had to ask me, do you want to do a surgery that will save one of your ovaries so that way your having kids won't be affected? And then they were telling me the statistics of it, and if I do the surgery, the statistic of it helping me.
Statistics. That's all right. Tough word.
And I was thinking about it, and a percentage of it, what didn't look like it would. It sounded like they didn't really know if it would actually help me or not. And I got to thinking,
Sure.
if God wants, and if it did affect me having kids, I knew God could fix that. Because if God wants me to have kids, He could fix my body. So I just decided not to do the surgery.
But this is a decision they asked her to make in a matter of basically a day.
Wow.
Her cancer was so advanced that they said we need to start chemo on Wednesday. So you need to decide by Monday if this is what you want to do, so we can do the surgery Tuesday, and then you have to heal. And so she just said, you know what, I'm going to trust the Lord, and I'm going to trust the process that the doctors have laid out for us. And come to find out, none of that was affected. So
that's amazing for someone your age to have to face that question at that moment in time. That's amazing. On the other side of your surgery, did you have a chance to speak with the doctors that worked on you?
Well, we didn't really. She had one biopsy, and then the rest was chemo and radiation.
And then they just treated it. Okay, so there wasn't. So you never underwent. Did they have to open you up to do anything or no?
It was just chemo and radiation.
Just the biopsy.
Oh gosh. Okay, so they were able to reduce and then the tumors went away.
Yes.
Well, there's the power of prayer right there. That's pretty amazing. That doesn't always happen. Right. Bailey, do you find yourself, initially you said, why not me? And I appreciate that. But did you meet other people in the hospital that were in a similar situation that you were in?
Yes, there was one girl who was 4 at the time, and hers was way worse than mine. So I was just.
And were you able to give them comfort at all? Was that an opportunity for you?
I think so. My mom had lots of conversations with the girl's mom.
Well, but that had to help. I mean, think about how fearful she was at age 4, and you're a grown-up almost at age 15. That's a big gap.
You colored pictures for the little girl and talked to her a little bit, right?
Yes.
So that was good.
We exchanged some drawing stuff.
Well, that's excellent. Now, are you all going to be at the Cattle Barons Ball? Are you going to the event?
Yes.
Yeah, they named
And
her
what?
the pediatric cancer ambassador for this year's Cattle Barons Ball.
Well, congratulations. That's huge. They do a couple of very powerful things at the ball. One is the bags of light that they carry around. As someone doing that with you, are you going to be part of that as well?
We haven't heard what. I know she did a video that's going to play during the Cattle Barons Ball.
For the what's it called?
The auction.
Auction, yes.
So.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you speaking also, or just the video?
I think it's
Is
just
that your
the
chance
video.
to speak? Well, that's lucky. You don't have to get up in front of all those people.
So
That's not easy to do, right? That'd be frightening in its own right. Did you have any feelings about your illness prior to actually feeling it on your neck? Because I find it's always interesting when you feel good. Like right now, you feel good, right? You're in good health. You feel good. Everything's working out. But leading up to the time when you felt the things that you felt on your neck, were you not feeling quite right? Did you have that sense or no?
I was like overall fine. I was just very tired. I did have a cough, just very tired, and because I didn't get sleep at night, and that's the most I felt.
night sweats.
Night sweats.
So
Okay.
looking back at it, she's not one that complains, and so she was kind of figuring, I'll feel better eventually. You know, we're really busy. Our oldest son was in Army training, and we were moving, and so everybody was kind of just stepping up to the plate and helping. And she wasn't feeling great, and it was winter, and there was just a lot of things that she wasn't sleeping well.
We also were moving, so
so it was just a lot going on, and so everything had an explanation, you know. And so when we moved in, she was not quick to get her room set up. She didn't want to go out and meet the new kids in the neighborhood, which was totally against her personality. So we figured it's her kind of getting over sickness, or, you know, just dealing with life changes and things like that. And she just did not have the energy or the oomph to do much. And we had a fundraiser at church.
And
talk about that. That was funny.
So we had to do a marathon. It was just for youth stuff, paying for youth stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were I think it was like a 10K. I could barely get past 2. I called my parents. I'm like, can you please take me home? I can't do this. So they took me home, and I just thought I was out of shape. Well, we realized why
her lungs were 65% filled with tumors, which kind of limits your oxygen capacity there. So.
Wow, that's so was some money raised?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, what was it for? Camp or?
The year before that, it was for some youth trips.
Like a youth trip. Yeah. So.
This year though, I was able to do it completely.
Yeah, which was a fun and a rewarding outcome, because this year she completed it with no problems.
Yes.
And, awesome.
Is that right? Well, congratulations. So let's look forward a little bit. What are you wanting to do with your life as you go forward, Bailey? At 15, you've still got a little bit of school to go. But what do you want to do with your life?
Well, once I'm done with school, I want to be a child life specialist. Because when I was in hospital, there's a child life specialist in each floor who would tell kids about their treatments, who would give them stuff to do, encourage them, and I was really impressed with it. It was very helpful. One of the ladies shaved my head, and she gave me a squeeze ball, and she was very careful about it. She even shaved her arm to show me it won't hurt or anything. So
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Was the experience in the hospital good? I mean, did you come away feeling like they did a really, really good job?
Yes, feel much healthier, and yes, quite thankful.
And did you have a roommate, or did you have a single room?
It was most of the time it was just by myself. Maybe for a couple of hours I was with someone until they moved us to our own rooms.
Mm-hmm. It's always that's tough too. Were they in similar condition to yours, or did they have things like broken bones and they could go home right away? And
I was on the cancer floor, so everyone I was with also had cancer.
Oh, it was okay. Well, and adults or just children?
Just children.
Well, that's nice. That makes it a lot easier, I'm sure. Did so your takeaway was you want to be someone who helps when you get through school. What do you think you'll do with your folks and what they do? Are you going to be part of the church as well? Continue to do something like that with what you do with your adult life?
Maybe I might do something with junior church. I don't know yet, to see what God tells me to do.
Well, that's true. And also, he's, like I said, after I found out I was better, he's got a plan, or she's got a plan, depending on how you look at it. But at the end of the day, there is a plan, and they wanted to keep you around to work the plan, whatever the plan might be.
She's actively involved in our church now. She serves in junior church and helps in various ways, not because we force her, but because she wants to, which is a blessing. Great. It's a blessing.
No, it is a blessing. And you're very, very lucky to have parents that point you in the direction, but it doesn't sound like they force you into the direction. And that's good, because then it's in your heart. And I think that's really what's most important. Let's talk a little bit about the Cattle Barons Ball that's coming up. So that's at the Wilson Logistics Arena on the 14th of September. It's going to be from 6 to 11 p.m. That's the new arena that's on the campus of the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. Have you both been there before? Have you been there for any other activity?
I've been there for a Lunkers arena football game. And
how was that? I have not seen one yet.
It was insane, to be honest. It was a good experience. That was a lot of fun. The arena itself looks very nice.
So do they play on grass or dirt or fake grass, or what do they do?
It's fake grass. It literally looks like a carpet that's been rolled out,
right,
with barriers around it, and I was impressed. Although there wasn't a play in the game to fix the carpet.
Did people bounce on the carpet, or was it like playing on a cement floor? What do you think?
It was like playing on a putting surface green at a
really
place. So
wow.
And when
now,
the players hit each
Bailey,
other
did
in
you?
The corner, it like crumpled the carpet up. It was impressive.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So they actually tackle and run like they would outside on a grass field.
Yeah, it was intense football. So
it'd be very intense. How was the crowd? Was there a good crowd?
Yeah, it was a great turnout. People love football around here, obviously, because the place was packed.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. I was traveling this summer, so I didn't get a chance to get there, and I can't wait to see a Lunkers game. I just can't imagine playing in an area that size.
Shameless plug for the Lunkers.
No, not at all. You know what? We're blessed in Springfield when you consider how many things we have to do, and you got Major League Baseball. Now you've got professional football. You've got a great university programs. I mean, there's numerous programs in basketball and baseball. Yeah. So we're pretty blessed. Bailey, have you ever given thought where you want to go to school when you're done with high school?
I'm thinking about MSU because they have a child life program there.
Oh, they do. So you could stay at home and be able to advance your career there. Are you a Springfielding as you go forward, or do you think you want to live someplace else in the country?
I honestly have no idea. Preferably want to stay near my parents, but either way.
And now, is it just you and your brother? Are there other siblings?
I have 3 brothers in total. All of them are older. My twin's 2 minutes older, and my 2 older ones, they're adults.
He's 2 minutes older. Okay.
He reminds me.
This is where people always get trapped when they go, "Are you identical?" And you go, "Well, no, he's my brother."
That's right.
Sister. But if I stood the two of you next to one another, would people have a difficult time picking out who's who just because of the way you look? So you're much cuter than your brother, is what you're saying. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that.
If you say cuter, then she would say yes.
Folks, in the little time that we have left, in the little time we have to say thank you to some folks, anything special you want to say to your folks right now when you get a chance like this on a show? That's real pressure, Bailey.
I think giving to cancer stuff is really good because it really does help with figuring out how the cancer started and help kids not get it.
Yeah, let's hope nobody gets it. At some point, hopefully they'll figure out a way that we don't have to worry about it anymore. Because I think what's interesting, and I'm sure you'll find this out as you go, as you grow and get older, everybody's touched by cancer. There's almost no one that hasn't had somebody in a family or close family member or close personal friend that hasn't been bitten by the cancer bug, if you will.
Sure.
So very thankful that you're better.
Yeah.
Any
I know from our
last thoughts,
family-
Bailey, you want to throw out there?
I don't think so.
I know we'd
No,
like to say
we're good.
thank you to the American Cancer Society and to Hope Lodge for just ministering to our family and having a role in making a very difficult time comfortable and accessible. And I want to encourage people to buy some tickets and come to the Calabarons Ball, because that's a great event that helps childhood cancer, all kinds of cancer, and specifically the Hope Lodge in St. Louis.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Well said. I want to thank my guests today on Around the Ozarks Spotlight, also my producers, Taylor Dempster and Jay Stevens, as well as all of you for joining us today. If you happen to miss all or part of today's program, you can find us on ATO Spotlight on aroundtheozarks.com, our website, Facebook, Instagram, or X, or even our new app for ATO, which can be found in the Apple App Store or Android apps. I'm Scott Meier, and remember, every day is a gift. Have a great day.